That's you.
I'm gonna go, Michelle, I'm pushing my wheel of love. You've always been my #1 dream girl. It's pretty wild to think that when we met, you weren't wearing any shoes. And now you're here, the most stunning bride anyone could ever imagine.
It's literally true, actually.
I just want to thank you for everything. The list is so long, but the big idea is that you've been my better half for the better part of the last decade of our lives.
I saw my fate. I can only thank God it was not too late. Over mountains I floated away, across an ocean.
What are we doing?
Turn around.
I dreamed her name. I followed an angel
What are you doing?
down through the gates. I can only thank God it was not too late. Sing a little song of loneliness, sing one to make me smile. Another round for everyone, I'm here for a little while. Now I'm walking this street on my own, but she's with me everywhere I go. Yeah, I found an angel, I found my place. I can only thank God it was not too late. I can only thank God it was not too late. I can only thank God it was not too late.
Time is actually bending and the sun is shining brighter for Peter and Michelle. This is a long-awaited, long-anticipated, and long-hoped-for union. Today feels so much more than just the joining of two people. I honestly feel like we're colliding two stars together. There's family, friends, and generations of people who made this day absolutely possible. And their absence reminds all of us to treat today and every day as the absolute precious gift that it is. The two of you found each other, and this is an epic love story over 10 years in the making. Meeting in the jungles, falling in love, underneath the canopy above sharks and snakes where macaws sang overhead, teaching each other your own personal histories, becoming brave and sharing your flaws, your secret dreams that you've never said out loud to anyone else, the sense of safety, but really the magic of finding those parts of yourself met with both acceptance and love. But this path has never been easy. This is where you learned how important it is to fight for each other. Michelle, you saw in Peter the man that he's become, but you saw that years ago. Michelle, your toughness and your accountability is the truth that Peter cherishes. It is a gift. It has guided Peter into the best parts of him.
Today I can say with my whole heart, I never want to imagine my life without you. Mary. Mary and my mother Teresa have shown me what it's like to be thanklessly kind and endlessly empathetic. My father has taught me the value of creative outlets, but more importantly, the significance of resilience and hard work. Okay. Dean has taught me to admire people who are curious about life and who have a love of learning, and he demonstrated to me the type of qualities that I have been so lucky to find in you. My family deserved a shout out today because they have led me to understand that all of these attributes are equally important to me, and you encompass all of them. You are so smart, thanklessly kind, charismatic, determined, creative, and this just sounds like a list of words, but they truly define who you are. I, among others, believe your potential is limitless. You definitely are my better half. So when it comes to vows, many come to mind, but I will only say one here. I vow to try my hardest to live in the moment with you and not to take this fragile life for granted. Mila, who couldn't be here today, and I love you very much.
Oh man.
Wow. You all felt that, right?
All right.
Peter, are you ready?
Yeah, I got this. Soft side. Michelle, I'm pushing my wheel of love. You've always been my #1 dream girl. It's pretty wild to think that when we met, you weren't wearing any shoes, and now here, you're the most stunning bride anyone could imagine. I just want to thank you for everything. The list is so long, but the big idea is that you have been my better half for the better part of the last decade. It's probably been really easy to do that. I'm grateful that I can be the levity for you when everything's so heavy, and I'm thrilled about the future we have together and the world we're making. This, our wedding, is happening because of an overwhelming feeling of love I have for you. It was that feeling that got us here. It was that feeling that finally set things into motion for us to be here today. When I asked you to marry, the words just came out. It obviously wasn't premeditated that day, but it just had to be. The thing is, it really was premeditated. I've been thinking about that moment for so long, from the time you rode on my handlebars, to the time when I landed in Costa Rica and thought to myself, why didn't Michelle come on this trip? To Spain when you dropped everything and came to hang out, to the trips to Mexico and all the Damon Runyon stories I stumbled through reading. On every one of those occasions, I thought to myself, dang, this is it. Play for keeps. Here we are, playing for keeps. And here I am with another feeling, one of duty and responsibility to keep you forever safe and well and happy and lively and content living in our place of solitude that we call our home. So this is my vow to you, to always be an open heart to you, to be a man of truth and keep my edge razor sharp for you, to keep that feeling of overwhelming love for you thriving and keep our loving cup full. Because I believe in love, and I know that you do too. This is the real thing. We're pushing the wheel of love. Let the bells ring. You're my dream girl, Michelle, and I'll love you till I die.
Will you please place your ring on Michelle's finger?
Oh man, I can't really see very well.
The two of you are so beautiful. And there's really only one thing left to do.
Dip.
Do you, Peter, take Michelle to be your wife, to love forever and ever?
Yes, I do.
I do. Do you, Michelle, take Peter to be your husband, to love forever and ever?
I do.
Friends and family, by the powers vested in me by the state of California and the organizing order of the universe, and from the power of friendship, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and Peter, you make history. Friends, it is my honor to present for the first time Michelle Latta.
Michelle and Pete asked me to say a prayer to over the food tonight. But I wanted to bring up something very special. These wonderful young people are so dear to Mary and I, and it's great happening that 60 years ago, on a Saturday, on the weekend for Labor Day, two young people in Rochester, Minnesota said their vows. And that was Dean and Mary Vogel. And you two keep the progress going. Now, they asked me to have something to do with religion because I go to church on Sundays and I have a rosary and I use it once in a while. But the good Lord asked when we broke bread and drank wine to do it in remembrance of Him. And at this time it's very appropriate. And what I want to say is that to both of you and to everybody here, God loves you. And blessed, O Lord, these thy gifts which you're about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you.
But I think the thing that I remember the very most of his childhood with me, teaching me as a parent how to be a parent, was one Father's Day when we went golfing. Nate and Peter and I went golfing. And we had been through, I don't know, a dozen holes or so. We finally came to this hole that was a par 5. And Pete was just a little guy at this point. He was 9 or 10 years old. And so Pete hit from the women's tees, which were up 100 yards and a little bit to the right. And Nate and I went back and hit from the men's tees. Well, Pete's dad here fired away, and the shot I hit went about 3 feet above the ground, straight on the line toward the hole, and then it made a sharp right all the way over to where Pete was standing on the women's tees. And I am seeing my life go before my eyes, as I'm sure he is also. He jumped, and it just hit him in the calf. If he hadn't jumped, it hit him in the kneecap and broken his kneecap. But his quickness in that saved his life, or at least his kneecap. And it was an amazing moment. Many wonderful times, and Pete, I'm very, very thankful for all of those. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about the fruits of the Spirit, and they're love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And somebody came up with this little description of them, saying, love is the key, joy is love singing, peace is love resting, patience is love enduring, kindness is love's touch, goodness is love's character, faithfulness is love's habit, gentleness is love's self-forgetfulness, self-control is love holding the reins. But love is the key. That's what I see in you guys, and I just delight in it. I celebrate you, as we all do. I rejoice in it, and I encourage you to celebrate that, to sacrifice for it, to give time to it, to make whatever you need to do to make that love happen. And I wish you many years of great love and joy and peace and patience and all the rest of those. But right now, why don't we lift our cups and toast to these two, Pete and Michelle. We bless you and thank God for you. That's it.
Hi guys, sorry. I'm gonna do one more quick toast here. I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but I'm kind of long-winded, so I apologize in advance. My name is Lee. I met Peter about 16 years ago at the Habit over on Milpas. And what seemed like a chance encounter grew into a friendship quickly through our mutual bud, Leon, over there at the end of the table. And I'm a few years older than Peter, man, but he quickly became like my wild little homie who had this insatiable curiosity, an infinite amount of stoke, next to no social inhibitions, and an old soul that he masked with a childlike innocence. He has a magnetic personality that you can't help but be drawn to and excited when you're around him because his stoke is just that contagious. He's even unknowingly become a bit of a litmus test in my own relationships. A long time ago, I was dating a woman who did a good job at tolerating me, and I thought that maybe I should marry her because of that. But one time we went on a double date with Pete and whoever he was dating at the time. It wasn't Michelle, she's forgettable. And as we're heading home, she's like, Pete is so loud, it's embarrassing to be around him. And I went, that seems kind of like a red flag. You know, I kind of really like Pete. And I would hope so. Yeah, yeah. So So needless to say, that one didn't work out. But the last time I introduced a girlfriend to Peter, while we were passing through Santa Barbara on our way back from a camping trip, her reaction was like, wow, I really like Pete and Michelle. They seem so fun. We should go camping with them next time. And I thought, oh, thank God, this one has good taste. And eventually, a few years later, Pete went on to officiate our wedding. Yeah, cheers to that. So real quick, there's this old jazz term that I love, and it's called shedding. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's when someone locks themselves away from society for a while, often in a shed, that's why it's called shedding, to study their instrument without distractions from the outside world. It's like this obsessive educational meditation, right? And I bring that up because something that impresses me most to this day about Pete is, after knowing him for a while, he just up and disappeared for about a year. I'd hear murmurs about him living in a garage somewhere, being a hermit, but no one really knew what he was up to. And it turns out that he was like literally shedding. Unbeknownst to me and a lot of his friends, he'd always wanted to learn how to play the drums, which you guys saw today. So he literally lived in a shed for a year and emerged an amazing, obsessively self-taught, mathematically precise drummer. And Pete's a lifelong learner, and this was like a visceral display of that insatiable curiosity that I mentioned. He has this ravenous desire to learn, and it probably comes from that same part of his brain that drove him to skateboarding as a kid, because it's that same sort of self-discipline and obsession, you know? And I say all that to arrive at my long-winded point. I'm so proud of the man that you've become, Peter. As you've gotten older and more experienced, you've shifted that insatiable curiosity to the human condition. Our talks of late have been centered around relationships, communication, mortality, and being present for the moment. And if anyone has the drive to figure out the key to all those things, I think it's Peanut Butter Pete. So Pistol, I just want to remind you that the thing I'm most drawn to you are your curiosity, your stoke, and that desire to learn. And so as you and Michelle grow together, change together, and become different people over time, remember to tap into that curiosity with her and about her. Remember that to occasionally partake in whatever the marital version of shedding is, so that you can continue to learn about what makes her happy, because her happiness will always be in direct correlation with your happiness now. So let's all raise a glass to Peter and Michelle, and to a long life full of continuously learning about each other together. Cheers.
Hit it, DJ. Ha 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 ha. What? Oh, August 31st, let's go. Michelle, Peter, just married, feel it. Gonna go loco, gotta cheers to you. Both said I do. From Lowry to Latta, she went, that's it. Great couple, great night. Let's rewind back to junior high. We got a chica, so nice to meet her. Big blue eyes and with a great smile. All the boys be looking at her, wishing they was with her, but they never were. She'd be swimming it up and tinning it up. Next she eating, after that, watching TV. Come high school, she found some new friends. Devin, Naomi, Tess, and Tori. Getting wild at all the high school parties. That's right, Barbie drinking Bacardi. This Michelatta's wedding. She be getting married. It's Michelatta's wedding. She be getting married. Okay, now check on this baby in college. Now she's getting that list. Gonna rehearse, be a nurse. She be growing up as little Mila and a skater named Peter. Fast forward to the Bachelorette Rager. Got 9 girls, Michelle special ladies. Swimming in the sea, jellyfish scenes. Got all the girls screaming, owie! Should've seen Michelle become jellyfish queen. Now she has a lover for the rest of the time. No, you will for all your life. Be a great wife. L to the O to the V to the E forever. Cause now you a Mr. and Miss. Yes, y'all. Just the end of my matron on the rap. Surprise! It's Michelatta's wedding. She be getting married. It's Michelatta's wedding. Barbie's getting married. Let's hear it for the bride and groom, Barbie,
but I'm happy Mila is finally living in a home with traditional family values and marital structure. Finally, Peter and Mila will stop howling. I'm Peter's cousin. My name's Royce. Although cousin doesn't quite capture my relationship with Peter. Peter's my brother and best friend. My love for Peter runs very deep, and I have the highest aspirations and hopes for my cousin. And today is justification for that, Peter. You've married a fabulous woman today. And it's pretty special for me to stand here and be witness to it and be part of it. Thank you. So we're honored for Michelle to join the family, and if Michelle, if your family will allow us, we're going to join your family. And we're thankful for Michelle because she got Cottage Hospital to agree to provide IVs for the whole wedding party tomorrow. So I've been on stage holding a microphone with Peter once or twice before. That would involve you being on a stage with me. One time was 2003 Christmas Eve. Somehow Peter and I were invited to light the Christ candle at Summerlin Presbyterian Church. Our job was really simple that night. Really easy. We read from a cue card. We finish our reading. We light the damn candle. That was it. That was all we had. Uncle Rich, where are you? Okay, so Uncle Rich somehow thought it would be a good idea for Peter and I to go up there. Usually it's a job for one person. Uncle Rich thought 2 would be required that evening. So Peter and I are up there. Peter starts. He's graceful, he's eloquent. And then I look over at his ass, and he's smirking at me. You know the Peter smirk, the cheeky Peter smirk. He's looking up at me like this. So I snort because I can't help it. And then the two of us just break up. We're laughing uncontrollably, uproariously. We can't handle it. We didn't light the Christ candle that night. I think Sarah must have come up and helped out, or someone helped out. I don't know what happened. I think Peter and I were excommunicated. I mean, the rest of that evening didn't go well. I think Peter and I drove home, picked up a homeless person, tried to take him back to the Christmas party, but it didn't work out. Anyways, so that's one occasion with Peter, and the reason I bring that up is in my lifetime, there's a few people that I've laughed with as much as Peter, but I think Peter takes the lead in terms of quantity and quality of laughs. Peter is my guy. And that's a big part of our story. One thing about Peter is he's always laughing. He lights up the spirit of any room, whether it's appropriate or not. He brings joy to a room. He does. And if he doesn't bring joy, at least he brings noise to a room. If there's a hard surface, Peter's drumming on that hard surface. He'll drum wherever, it doesn't matter. I know this will translate well into your marriage, Michelle. I know it will. Peter visited me while I was living in Scotland in 2007. I lived there for 4 or 5 years. He was there towards the end of my trip. He visited me for about 2 weeks, and when he left, it was sad for me because it was good to have my cousin there. I didn't have family there. And so I'm walking to work the morning after Peter leaves. It's about 7 in the morning. I'm walking to the National Hospital of Scotland where I was working. And it was a dreary gray morning. I have my headphones on. And I look to my left as I'm walking, and I see this red graffiti on a dumpster. And it says, Wu-Tang. And I think, okay, there could be other Wu-Tang fans in Edinburgh, Scotland. Highly unlikely, but So I keep walking along, and I see on the side of a blue building, it says next year. And I think a few guys at the table can attest to what that means. But anyway, so I think that was Peter as well. That's red graffiti. A little more subtle. So I'm walking along further. I get to the main thoroughfare, the intersection that I have to cross through every single day. And it says, "To Royce, love Peter." Come on, it was graffiti on the wall. What do you mean? He's doing red graffiti on the wall. You guys think it's sweet? I thought it was crazy. I had to walk through that damn intersection every day. These are nuts. Let me look at what I have to say here. I got a lot to say. All right. My wife tells me I have too many stories here. So in addition to making noise, which Peter does, drumming on tables, Pete also makes art. He's a musician, artist, builder, vintner, chef, opera singer. Can we get an aria? Catch a falling. I'm pushing my wheel of love. Peter always has multiple projects in the work. He's been talking to me about a project for the last few months, which is the project of get Michelle to really love me and sustain that love. And he's been working hard on it, and I think he's done a pretty good job. I mean, the song was cool, the vows were good. I mean, everything has been pretty good so far. So Peter has a pretty natural talent for many different types of art, which is infuriating if you don't have it. And especially if you're as competitive as Peter and I. And that brings up a kind of a constant in our relationship, which is healthy and unhealthy competition. And you guys can keep eating too. You don't have to just look. You can eat and look at the same time. So Pete, Nate, and Sarah lived in Oregon and Chicago before they moved to Santa Barbara. As kids, they would come down every summer and visit. Those were the best moments of my youth growing up, is spending that time with them. When they would arrive, there was nothing better. Peter and I were youngsters. We're 1 year apart. We were equals. I looked up to Nate and Sarah, with the exception of Nate's headgear, which looked like scaffolding around his head. I mean, there was some crazy headgear. Aunt Jenny used to make us go to bed while it was still light out. It was 7:30 and the sun hadn't set yet. And then Sarah played this game with Peter and I, where she pretended that Peter and I were her dogs, and that she was the dog trainer, and Peter and I would go up and down the steps and bark, and she would put bowls at the bottom of the steps with marshmallows in them, and she would order us to do whatever the hell she wanted us to do. What the hell? I mean, looking back on that now, that's incredibly emasculating, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And one thing about it was Peter was named Vanilla because of the slightly lighter hue that he had, and I was chocolate because I had a little bit of a darker hue. But it was weird. And Michelle, this really bodes well for your marriage, because we really both liked being the little dogs going up and down the steps. I mean, it was pretty incredible. It was great. So anyways, so Peter and I are always toiling and competing in the background growing up. We still compete on stupid things. It's a lot of times it's unhealthy. But when I was about 8 years old, I learned that Peter, in a fit of righteous indignation, pushed a classmate of his through a window. And I was like, whoa, I'm not gonna mess with that guy. I mean, he pushed them through a window. So I had to figure out ways to mentally manipulate him because I knew I wasn't going to be able to physically overtake him. Like that ship had sailed. There was no way I was going to physically overtake Peter any longer. One aspect of that is, so we're on a camping trip, we're leaving, we're in the back of a van. This is the gum story. A few people know the gum story here. We had the bubble tape, the grape bubble tape, 6-foot bubble tape, and we're in the back. We each have like 3 foot of the bubble tape in our mouth. And we're going along, and I take a little bit out of my mouth. I put it on the back of Peter's ear, which wasn't a good decision because then Peter just took a big chunk out of his mouth and put it in my hair. And at that time, like putting gum in someone's hair, that's not cool. I mean, like, you know, that's not a cousin thing to do. So I said, if you don't put gum in your own hair, I'm never gonna love you again. So Peter, he smears gum like all over his head. And he doesn't just put gum in his hair, like he smears it all over his head. So he's got great bubble tape all over his hair. And we're in Minnesota at this time, and we're going to the Mall of America that evening. And it was easy for me because I could just go and I got it snipped out of my hair. And Aunt Jenny tried to use peanut butter on Peter's head, and it didn't work. And so he had his hair covered with peanut butter and grape bubble tape. And we go to Mall of America, and he's wearing a hat, Chicago Cubs hat, with peanut butter and grape bubble tape. And we're walking through, and I got a little snip out of mine. I think you got a buzz the next day. That's the kind of stuff that happened. I mean, we didn't just work against each other, though. We also worked in cahoots against other people. Am I going too long? No. All right. So we worked against Nate a few times. One of those times was when we took a trip to the boundary waters of Minnesota, and it was a canoe trip. And so we were going from island to island. And then when you arrive at one side of the island, you portage your canoe, and you take everything, including the canoe and all your possessions, to the other side of the island. Pete and I were pretty young. We were probably 8 and 9 at the time. And part of the trip was fishing. And so we had bait. And our bait was leeches. And so the first island we get to, we paddle there. We have 2 canoes. It's my dad, it's Uncle Rich, it's Nate, Pete, and I. And we get to the first side of the island, and we stop. And my dad and Uncle Rich take one of the canoes, and they walk across the island. And so Peter and I are back in the other, and we find the leeches. And so Peter and I start throwing the leeches at each other. Like, just fucking throwing them. Like, and then that got boring. So we started throwing the leeches at Nate. Sorry, Nate. So we were throwing leeches at Nate, and that was like our whole thing of bait for the whole trip. And in the process of throwing leeches at Nate, the whole thing of leeches fell into the lake somehow. Oh. Yeah, so all the bait for the trip. You know, that's the point. And then at that point, we blamed it on Nate. Sorry, Nate.
One more.
Yeah. All right, so it's probably for the best that Peter and I never actually lived together. But we did both live in Summerlin in 2008. When we were living in Summerlin, Peter was living at his Italian grandma's house, and I was living at my other grandma's house in Summerlin as well. So Peter's up on the hill, I'm down on the beach. This is the recession. So we're there during the recession in 2008, but it wasn't a bad time for us. It was a tough time for many of you, and I'm sorry. But Peter and I had a great freaking time in the recession of 2008. I mean, he was living up there in luxury at his Nona's house, and I was living down on the beach, and he would come down on his fixie bike down Summerlin Hill, and we'd listen to German minimal techno and Japanese noise music and Russian folk tunes, and not really give a damn about anything. But here's the thing, it was kind of pathetic. We were spending a lot of time with our grandmothers. So when that ended, it was for the best. And the reason it ended was Peter eventually met Michelle, and I met my wife, Heather, who's right there. And we met around the same time, and we started dating around the same time. It took Peter a little bit longer to propose, but Peter's very deliberative, you know, it takes a while to make these decisions. In my family, we compare everything to the success or lack thereof of your BM, so it's like it was mental constipation on the part of Peter. That's what it was. Anyways, thank God for Michelle. But during the relationship of Peter and Michelle, they supported one another while they finished their studies. Michelle became a nurse. Peter finished his degree at UCSB. They challenge each other. When challenge is due, Michelle will challenge Peter. When affection is due, Michelle will be affectionate towards Peter. When accountability is due, Michelle will hold Peter accountable. Thank you for that, Michelle. Thank God. So I want to finish. My wife says I have some trust issues, except for people outside of my immediate family. That's probably true. But in large part, that's because I have Peter in my life. And I have complete trust in my cousin. I trust him with my confidences, my vulnerabilities, and everything. I know I can always count on Pete. Pete takes affirmative steps to contact me. When I need something, he'll reach out. And when Peter contacts me, it's not just a superficial contact. It's let's really talk about what you need, Royce. And we talk, it's not superficial bullshit. And he'll be the same way for Michelle. Thank you for that, Peter. Thank you for the two of you. So I'm going to turn this around now and ask all of you, in the way that Peter always talks real talk to me, I'm going to talk real talk to you and say it's time to really celebrate and really party for Michelle and Peter. Love you guys.
Bar with the dance floor, because we're gonna do the first dances and get this party started, please. Come join us to get the party started, please.
And eat some cheese.
Please welcome the parents of the bride and the groom. Oh, come on, you guys have to give it up a little louder than that, please. You guys know Peter, if he can speak over you, it's not a good chance.
Turn it up.
This was really
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide.
Don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes oceans and traveling shows. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is a song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world. Out on the roof and picked out the moss. Well, a few of the verses, well, they've got me quite cross, but the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do, you see I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really need, those are the sweetest guys I've ever seen. Tell everybody this is the song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world.
No speech. Dance. So now it's Peter and Michelle's time to get up and celebrate.
One more. I looked into her eyes. There I saw smoldering fire. I held her in my arms as we stood on the threshold. We stood on the threshold. Ooh, we stood on the threshold of paradise. when flames started to rise. I felt the beating of my heart as we stood on the threshold. We stood on the threshold. Ooh, we stood on the threshold. Oh, paradise. As we kissed in the night, shadows faded into the light. Then we kissed once again.